Hello? Hello? There you are. I was waiting for you.
I'm here.
All right. And where's Chrissy? She's a rock star too. There's yeah. Oh, sorry. Here. I'm sorry. You'll figure it out. No. These are taken. No. I'm sitting here. Yeah. Sorry. We're on live now, so you're gonna sit here and film, or are you gonna stand? I'm giving everybody a minute to chill out. We're almost here. All right. I need to take a breath because it's been a very wild day, and I've been waiting for my friend Sebastian to get here. And there he is. Here we are tonight. Welcome to AI AM, the acronym for AI, automation, and marketing. I've been doing this for almost 3 years. There's a person, Fernando, started it, and then I took it over. So he founded it. And I've been doing this since July 2023 because I wanted to educate myself on AI, and I also wanted to educate everybody else, because way back then, back in the day, 3 years ago, none of us knew anything. And now everybody knows everything. And here we are with Hermes. You know, who all knows about Hermes? Okay, good. So this is going to be a great meetup event tonight. So let me get started on me. I'm Sharon DeCaro, I'm the host. I started this community. I said all that before. Before we get into tonight's presentation, I want to take 80 seconds to tell you what I do, because it's relevant to someone in the room. I help founders. I help people getting jobs. I help people doing career pivoting. I help people branding. What I do is LinkedIn, but I also do content strategy. I'm a LinkedIn specialist, and I really know LinkedIn, okay? I'm gonna hit 10,000 followers by tonight, and well, that takes a lot of work, posting, there's a lot more to LinkedIn, so I do that. So if anybody wants any help, I guarantee I can make your LinkedIn profile stand out, because LinkedIn has an algorithm, and it notices things that you're not doing, and you are not gonna get like in anybody's feed. So, and it takes, you gotta post, it's just a lot of work, but I can help you. My background is computer programming in 2000, graphic design, marketing degree. I like school. And when AI came along, I became obsessed with it. So that's where we're at today. Let's see, I do strategy, all that other stuff. So now scan the QR codes here if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn. We have the slide here. You can see that. Also, get on the list. What we're doing is I'm going to be offering workshops and events and some other information that'll help you. And for now, it's free, but we'll see where it all goes, you know? And what else? Let's see. I think that's it. So one quick ask before we begin tonight. Please, if you find value in anything or you take photos, please tag me so I know that you like the meetup and we're doing a good job. So let's see what else. Okay, here's the format for tonight. 6:30 to 7 is networking, and then 7-ish we start, and we have our amazing speaker. And then they talk for about 45 minutes, you get some Q&A, and then we, a few more questions, and then we gotta get out of the room at 8:30. But one most important thing, do not leave this room without getting your parking discounted voucher. I have them. You can park in the building for $8. Otherwise, it's like $35. So let's see what else. We got to give a huge shout out to Station Austin. They're at the Capital Factory. That is now who runs all the meetups. It's still part of the Capital Factory, but it's a new, I want to say a new leg of the Capital Factory. So we're going to give a big clap to the Capital Factory and a big clap to Station Austin. Woo! There we go. Yeah, because the live stream, this is live streamed right now, so here I go. The other thing is, with Station Austin, we want you to join Station Austin. They have memberships, they have, all different, let's see what else. It's a key center of gravity for entrepreneurs in Texas. And our wonderful head of Capital Factory passed away about a month ago, Josh Bayer, and it won't be the same without him. And let's see what else. So Capital Factory and Station Austin, go to Station Austin's website and you can learn more about it. Now I'm going to talk about our speaker. I met Brad Freels when he started coming to my meetup. He's a brilliant guy. He knows a lot. And I was very interested when he offered he wanted to give a demo on Hermes. And I said, yeah, because I want to know about Hermes. And so he's an Azure data and AI strategist at Microsoft. And he's going to demonstrate Hermes Agent, a personal AI operating system designed to help professionals move beyond one-off prompts and into repeatable agentic workflows. This session is for business practitioners who already understand the basics of LLMs and want to see what comes next. AI systems that can remember context, coordinate tasks, follow schedules, use skills, work across profiles. Brad will show how Hermes turns individual requests into structured workflows that can be reused over time. Instead of treating AI as a chatbot for isolated tasks, Hermes demonstrates how agentic systems can operate more like a personal work layer for business, planning, execution, and decision support. And so much more, and I can read it off, but I'm going to bring him on now. So help me welcome our amazing speaker, Brad Freels.
Thanks. Yes. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Did I write that? I gotta live up to that, right? Thanks everybody, appreciate you being here. So my name's Brad. I work during the day. My day job is with Microsoft. I sell Azure AI services to mid-market companies, about 45 to 50 of them, so I get a lot of experience in this. Founder of Bindu AI, small little company I'm trying to start up to help small businesses get value out of AI, understand how to use it. So while you guys ponder what's on the screen, I'm going to tell you a quick story. So I like playing Magic the Gathering. I don't know if anybody in here knows it, right? It's a trading card game. It's been around since the 80s. Yes, I'm old. I started playing it in the 90s, early 90s, and I just love the game, love the strategy, the complexity, and everything else. And so there's a new set of cards that just came out for The Hobbit, if anybody's Hobbit fans or Tolkien fans. And so I sat down at my desk, I was watching a YouTube video on the new cards and what to expect and stuff like that. I just started the video. My daughter, who happens to be sitting right over there, is walks in, is like, "What are you doing?" And I've taught all my kids how to play Magic. And I said, "Well, I'm watching a Magic video." "Oh, you want to play?" Well, I have to say yes, right? I mean, I'm gonna go play Magic with my daughter. It's one of the best things in the world. And but I wanted to learn about the new cards and everything. So think about what you would do in that scenario. Do you just leave the browser up? Do you send yourself a reminder? You put it on your phone? What do you do? Well, I sent an email to my AI and I said, "Hey, I want you to summarize this video for me and send it back to me." So then we go down, sit down, we start playing Magic, having a good time. She's beating me, of course. And we get to a point and she goes, "Dad," by the way, her favorite animal is the otters. She says, "Dad, can I build a Magic deck with otters?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." So in the game, you have cards that have animals and people and monsters and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, "I have no idea." So what do you do in that situation? Think about what you would do. You put a reminder on your phone? Do you send yourself an email or reminder? How do you do it? What I do is I send an email to my AI and I say, "Hey, research whether I can build a commander deck using otters." We keep playing a little bit longer. Wife walks by. She's like, "Hey, did you," by the way, she's right there. Did you do the research on the occupancy of our short-term rent? We own some short-term rentals here in Austin. Did you do the occupancy on the short-term rentals for the last couple of months and the next few months to see if we need to do anything? "No, I forgot." She laughs. She's probably laughing right now knowing that I forgot. And so once again, think about what you would do in that scenario. You got to remind yourself you got to do something. What I do, I send an email to my AI and I say, "Hey, research or tell me about the occupancy for my STRs." Game's over. My daughter wins, and she goes, "Dad, we use dice and all these kind of manual tools to keep track of the score of the game. Can your AI build an app to do that?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. What do? I sent it an email. Hey, can you build an AI, can you build an app for keeping score of Commander?" So think about those scenarios and how you would have handled them. Because what I want you to think about and what I'm hopefully going to tell you about today I have immense curiosity. I think we all do, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. None of us have the same availability that matches the amount of curiosity that we typically have. So how can you maximize what time you have to get your curiosity satisfied? How quickly can you go from a question, a curiosity, a research topic, a problem, to action? And that's what I want to talk about today, is really get you from curiosity to action as fast as possible, leveraging AI. And I want you to really keep your mind open about new ways of using AI. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, Claude, we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff in here, but there's a problem with going from curiosity to action. It's the human, it's us. We're in the loop. Sometimes it's fear because we want to be. Sometimes it's control because we think we have to be. Sometimes you have to be for legal reasons or regulatory reasons or whatever as well. But we slow things down. So if you think about, hey, I can tell AI to go do research, but then when the research comes back, I have to look at it, I have to review it, and then maybe I summarize it, maybe I create the report, maybe I ask AI to do it, but you're in the middle of this. And so how do we solve that problem? And that's what we're going to be talking about. Here's the shift. Everybody's used to ChatGPT. You just type something in, you say, write me this report with this data, maybe you upload some data, something like that. That works, it's not a big deal. But what if you could say, run my daily report workflow, remember what matters to me, improve the process, and send me the result? Which one do you want?
Right.
Yeah, obviously, okay? So what is a personal AI operating system? It's got several components. One of the biggest ones, it remembers. It remembers everything about itself. It remembers about you. It remembers projects. It remembers instructions you've given it, guidelines, guardrails, security. It remembers all of that. It runs workflows. It executes them for you. It coordinates other agents. You can have multiple agents. We'll talk about that in a little while. It connects you to your tools and leverages tools. I'll show you the tools we use for our short-term rental and the data that it can pull. And then more importantly, it gets better over time. So the more you use it, the better it gets. And that's what I'm going to show you. So Hermes is an example of a personal AI operating system. It's completely open source, it's free, no charge, you can download it and run it. We'll talk about cost in a little while because you got to run it somewhere and you got to have models and all that. We'll talk about that. But Hermes itself, open source, free, you can download it and use it whenever you want to. It is made up of 5 things. You've got memory, you've got skills, scheduling, profiles, and messaging. Put all that together, and what I described to you on the previous slide, that's what Hermes is. So I'm going to go into each one of these and talk a little bit more about them. If you guys have questions, let me know. It's probably pretty high level right now, so I don't expect any, but as we go, feel free. So Hermes has memory, and you can set the memory up any way you want to. You can give it a personality. Do you want it to be funny? You want it to be a smart aleck? You want it to be direct? You want it to be scientific? Set it up. You want it to, act like Morgan Freeman when it talks to you? Whatever you want. You give it a personality. You tell it, what its role is. You tell it what you want it to do. You tell it about yourself. What do you like? Do you, or do you want? So one of the things that I tell it is I like to get to root cause. So anytime there's a problem, I want root cause, and don't stop until you find root cause, because I want to make sure that I fix it the right way. So you tell it about yourself, your preferences, what you like, and it remembers all of that. You then tell it about projects, and it remembers about all the projects that you work on. You tell it about operating expectations, what it's allowed to do, what it's not allowed to do, boundaries that it cannot cross, and it remembers all that. And it's all kind of baked in, and it's part of the setup process to do that. This is probably the most important part of Hermes, is skills. So you can set up repeatable skills that it can execute over time. And you give it a task, it executes the task, and then it builds the skill so that it gets better over time. And so if you think about it, it's compounding. You give it a task, it uses the memory that you've given it, it then completes the task, and then it creates or improves the skill. So if the skill doesn't exist, if the task doesn't exist and it thinks it's going to need it again, it automatically creates the skill. If the skill already exists and it found a better way to do it, then it's going to update the skill so it gets better. So the next time you ask it a question, it's starting further ahead. So remember back when I said it should get smarter over time? This is how it does it. And this happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. It's part of the operating system that runs. The other thing it does is scheduling. Okay, so you can tell it, hey, I want you to send me a morning brief about whatever topic I'm interested in, the latest trends in AI. Every morning at 7 a.m., I want a morning brief. So I get up, I get my coffee, I sit down, and there's my morning brief, and I can read through it. Let's say you're tracking a certain company because you have stock in them. Hey, go look at the stock market every 5 minutes and tell me the stock price. Whatever you want to schedule. Now I would want to caution you, don't get crazy with this, because it can get a little nuts if you start setting them all up and figuring out what's going where and all the messages and everything. But very, very powerful when you use it strategically. Profiles, this is where it gets really cool. So a profile is essentially an agent. So you can set up as many profiles as you want. Doesn't matter how many you set up. Once again, I caution you setting up too many because it'll get a little crazy managing them. But you can set up whatever profile you want. You want a researcher profile? Do you want somebody that goes out and codes, somebody that does security, somebody that creates content? Doesn't matter. You can create any profile you want to. So when I set up my Hermes, this is how I set it up. So, a few youngsters in here. Star Trek: The Next Generation, any fans? Yeah, a few of you, all right. So, Picard, my favorite captain, no offense to Kirk, he was the original, but Picard is the better one. You like, yeah. So Picard is my Hermes. We talk back and forth, he's my chief of staff. That's the only guy I talk to in my Hermes environment. I don't talk to anybody else. I only talk to Picard. And then I've created other agents. I've got Beverly Crusher, she was the doctor on the ship, so I put her as my research agent. I've got Riker, he was the second in command, they called him number 1, so he's my project coordinator. I've got Worf, who was the Klingon, he runs security. I got Geordi, he ran engineering, Geordi LaForge, so he's my developer and builder. And then Data was the cybernetic, you could debate whether he's human or not. Cybernetic, that was like the ongoing thing for the whole story. He does all my quality assurance, so he tests everything, makes sure it's what it's supposed to be. So we'll talk more about how I use them, but just so you know, I only talk to Picard. Picard talks to everybody else and organizes all those other agents and handles them and tells them what to do and things like that. And I'll kind of walk through how that works. Yeah.
When you say you created it, you personally created, or did the other agent, did Hermes create it, like kind of create it?
Great question. So the question is, did I create each one of these or did Hermes create them? So what I did is I set up Picard personally, and I set up his personality and everything else, and then I worked with Picard, with Picard to figure out what profile I need to make for each one of these agents. He then created it. I could have, but it's so much easier to let him do it. I don't want to pull open markdown files and type everything in. He does the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just walked in. Now, is Hermes a separate app, or is this something that I can?
Yeah, Hermes is a open source software that you can install and run. We'll talk about how you do that in just a little bit. But yeah, it's open source free. You can download it and use it for no cost, right? Well, for Hermes. Yeah. Spock is not on my team because Spock was not in Next Generation. Data is the Spock in Next Generation, right? So, but yes, you gotta have a Spock-like character for sure. Any other questions while I'm stopped? Good. Yeah. Go ahead.
When you create these agents and Picard gives the personalities to these agents, is it based on specific direction or project that you have personally, or you
Great question. So how do you figure out if you need more agents and how you set them up? I talk to Picard, and I say, and every once in a while I'll just ask them and say, hey, we're doing a lot of research here. Do we need a research agent? And so me and Picard then explore whether I need a research agent. If we decide to get, as opposed to just building skills, right? And then if we decide together that we need an agent, then I work with him to figure out, okay, what's the personality, what's the profile, what's the expertise, what are the guardrails, what it can do. Like Beverly, one of the things I have on her, when she goes and does research, she has to find a minimum of 5 sources to research to build any sort of research item or document, depending on how complex it is. So she goes out, she scans and looks for different sources and builds it. And so we put that in the profile as her runtime, so she knows to execute that way. Yeah, great question.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So, like, how is the profile persisted? Is it persisted through, like, the skills and, like, how, like, you said it gets smarter over time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does that actually happen? Like, I'm just, like, how does that scale? Like, is that just through skills and different tool calls that the AI creates, and then, like, it's your profile, and how is...
Yeah, great question. So how are the profiles stored, and then how does it get smarter over time? Yeah, so profiles are stored as markdown files in the operating system, on the file system, and they're stored there. So anytime that they instantiate an agent, it goes and reads its profile information so it knows how to act.
Okay, and does
Yeah.
it document this agent as well?
I'm sorry?
Does it, like, kind of, like, document the agent, like, the agent's finding, and then...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'll document everything that it does, and you'll see, I'll show you a demo, and you can see all the instructions and the commands and what it does as it's running.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because it's like an agentic workflow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll get more into agentic workflows here in just a minute. So what can you do with this? So I've kind of given you a template of what it can do. What can you do? Here's some ideas. Okay. Can you build an agentic company?
Yes.
With one human?
Yes.
Okay. What about like an AI development team? I kind of gave that away by telling you who all my guys were, but yeah. What about a reputation team that can manage your online reputation, look at reviews, make changes, automatically post content? Maybe don't start there, maybe get it to you for posting or approval first. Content creation team. I've seen people on YouTube that have where they'll just give it a topic and it'll create the script, it'll create the thumbnails, it'll go create the video, it'll do the whole thing. So that's the kind of stuff that you can do with Hermes. Let me talk to you about a couple of them. So an agentic company. Let's talk about that. So quick story, I had a friend that I went to lunch with, and he owns a small, like a boutique content shop, and so he manages people's websites for them, and they pay him to do a search engine optimization report, or really it's more like a website health report. So it goes in, and he goes in and he looks at, okay, what's your SEO? Do you have any broken links? What's your accessibility? All the things, right? And it takes him, 4 or 5 hours to do that. And I said, hey, send me that report. So I took the report, I gave it to Hermes, and I said, can you build this? 15 minutes later, he emailed my buddy the report. So that's interesting. How much do they pay you for it? So let's think about that. I now have this report that is, I hope, valuable or something like that. What can I do with it? Well, let's get an agent that can find leads. Define what your lead is. What kind of lead do you need, right? So build an agent that understands the profile of who you're looking for and have it go out and find those leads and build a database of leads. What's the next step? You need an agent that'll take those leads and scrub them, qualify them. Not all of them are going to be exactly that. You're just trying to build a big enough database then you filter it down. Once you filter it down, then get an agent that manages outreach. So it'll grab the lead, it will then personalize the content. It could email, it could text them, it could call them. You can use voice with this. It can make a phone call. It could DM them on different platforms and do outreach. And then ideally, you're probably pointing them to a website where they can order the report. When they order the report, an email goes to an agent that then builds the report. Remember, it took less than 15 minutes to build the report, email it out. That's not unreasonable to think of, right? Hermes can do this. There's other things that can do it as well, but we've done it on Hermes. Let me give you another example. AI development. So I hesitate to call myself a coder. I did code way back in the day. I haven't written code in probably 20 years, but I relatively understand it. So I decided to build an AI development team. Take a spec of what you want to build, hand it to a project manager. That project manager then builds the task list of what needs to happen, then starts assigning the tasks. Developer picks up a task, writes the code. When it's done, hands it off to QA. QA does the testing. Once the testing is done, if it passes, moves on. If it doesn't, it goes back to the developer. Once it passes QA, it goes to cybersecurity. Cybersecurity reviews it. If it doesn't work, goes back to the developer for a fix, goes back to cybersecurity. When it's done with cybersecurity, goes back to the project manager. Project manager compares it to what the spec said. If that's good, it goes back to, in this case, Picard. Picard does one last review, tells me it's done. So Picard helps me build the spec. I work with him. He interviews me, asks me all kinds of questions. Project manager is Riker. Developer is Jordy. QA is Data. Cybersecurity is Worf. And it just works. So remember when I sent that email to say build this? I'm using this process. Next one, personal board of directors. How would you like a group of really, really smart people to be at your beck and call to answer any question you want? There you go. Yeah, right? So I built this out, and I'll show you some demos of this. You've got a chairman. I only talk to the chairman, okay? The chairman handles whatever requests come in. When the requests come in, the chairman can decide, hey, I know the answer to this and provide an answer. Or the chairman can say, hey, I need to invoke these 3 board members to answer this question. When he invokes those agents, he sends the request to each one. They don't know that they're each being invoked. They only know about themselves. They do the research based upon their profile that we've defined. They do the research. They all send it back to the chairman. The chairman then synthesizes all that together, especially if you, one of these agents, by the way, needs to be the naysayer, because you always want that person in the group that, why are you always so negative? Well, there's a reason to put that person in there. Chairman synthesizes it all up, gives you the answer, and voila, you have your personal board of directors. I'm going to show you 2 examples of this. I've implemented one for my short-term rentals. I've also created one for my personal finance. So I've given it information, not login information, not yet, don't trust it that much, but I've given it information about, portfolio and retirement and home equity and all that kind of stuff, and it's helping me figure out what I need to be doing to maximize my personal finance. So, how did Picard do? We sent 4 emails, right? Let's see how it worked. So the first one I sent was take. So I don't know if you guys can read this, it might be kind of small, but so I sent an email. So here was the original email, right? I said, hey, this is the YouTube video that I want you to look up. I pasted the script, the transcript in there too, just in case it couldn't read it. So it reads that script and then it gives me a summary of that YouTube video. Okay? Now, next one. Which one was it? Research. So I sent this message right here. Is it possible to create a Magic the Gathering themed deck around otters? Is there a command that can be used and enough otter cards? So then it goes off and it does all the research and provides me information. The next one was my wife's request, because I definitely need to keep her happy. So I sent the request, review the portfolio occupancy for the last 3 months and the next 3 months. That's all I gave it. So it goes in and it looks everything up and it gives me a whole bunch of information about our occupancy over the last 3 months and the next 3 months. Last but not least, build. So I sent it an email. I said, can you build an application that will allow me to track Magic the Gathering Commander game with up to 4 players? It should include commander damage, poison counters, and any other specific scoring. So then it comes back with my understanding of what you want to build, proposed application description, proposed starting scope, assumptions or open points, how to approve, and then if I want it done, I need to reply with approved build with a code number, okay? So I reply approved build, approval confirmed, the build is started. Yes, I gave my agent email. It's free, easy to do, and I talk to it through email. It's really, really easy and fantastic to do. Any questions about any of that, by the way? Yeah.
Why not use something like Telegram?
Yeah, I knew that question always comes up. So what I would tell you is, and we're gonna get into different ways to communicate with Hermes. So I use Discord for most of my communication. I use email because for these tasks, because it's a fire and forget, and then I wanna go back at some other time and just be able to read it, and it's just sitting in my inbox, and I see it. If I'm in Telegram, I'd have to create different channels, then I'd have to open up Telegram, and I'd have to type things in and go back and check the channels and stuff like that. So it's a little more clunky to do the email specific stuff. Now I'm gonna show you my Discord. I've got a bunch of channels, but they're like project specific, right? So I keep it scoped. Yeah, go ahead.
For STR, do you give them your password?
I'm sorry?
For STR analysis, do you give them your password?
Great question. Do I give it my Airbnb password? No, I don't. My lovely wife, I don't do that. We have a property management system called Hospitable. It has an MCP server that sits in front of it. We talk to the MCP server, and I gave it read-only permission to it. I'm not comfortable enough yet with write permissions, but it's read-only. So yeah, and actually that's one of the demos I'm gonna show you. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Just while we're on the topic, and maybe you'll address this later, but we're talking about different communication.
Yep.
I know with OpenClaw, for example, you'll get context window from one channel that doesn't pass through the other. So if I'm communicating through Discord with the
Same thing.
agent and I'm communicating with email with the agent, the context window stays separate.
Correct.
It stays the same way.
Yeah. Same exact thing. Yeah. So let me explain what in case you don't understand. If I'm talking to Picard in Discord and I'm having a conversation and then I send an email, Picard over here doesn't know about the email I sent. When the email hits, Picard picks it up over here, a second instance of Picard processes the email and does whatever and sends the response, right? So the contexts don't mix. Now, I can potentially mix those if I want to, but I don't get that crazy. Yeah.
With your board of directors, does the retirement planner talk to the tax strategist, or is the chairman making sense of their opinions and recommendations at the top level?
Great question. So does the retirement planner talk to the tax strategist, or does the chairman do it? So I have it set up so they don't talk to each other. They talk to the chairman, and then if the chairman needs more clarity, he'll go back and talk to them and get more information from them. And then he synthesizes everything. Yeah, great questions. One more. I gotta go. We gotta get through stuff here.
Or let's say, can you give
I'm sorry?
Can you give a password for non-MCP websites that don't have MCP?
You can. There's different ways to do that. There's OAuth and other ways. You just got to be careful because it's got to store the password somewhere. So how it stores it is typically on a file, usually plain text and things. So there's security. I'm not touching all of that stuff today, but there's a lot in the security and setup and everything else that you need to take advantage or you need to be aware of. So what Hermes is not, here's what I would tell you. I make it sound like it's magic and it's easy. It's not. It's work. It's a part-time job. I mean, right? It breaks. It gives me wrong answers. Everybody was asked, does it hallucinate? To me, what I've seen is, there's still a little bit of hallucination that goes on, but what I've seen, the wrong answers that it gives is because I didn't give it enough information and it made an assumption rather than asking me a clarifying question. And that assumption was quote unquote wrong, so it gives me the wrong answer. That's what I usually find. So I'm usually telling Hermes all the time, what other information do you need? Interview me to help me build this, things like that. And I find that it doesn't misbehave as much when you do it. You need to treat it like an employee, a really, really, really smart employee, but an employee. And when it starts off, it's dumb. It doesn't know anything. I mean, you have to teach it everything. You got to give it feedback, and you got to correct it, and you got to guide it. It's work. You remember what was the show? Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? It's a fifth grader when it starts. Now it turns into a PhD very, very quickly, but yeah, it's a fifth grader when it starts. So treat it as such, and you'll get good results out of it. Where should Hermes live? So this is a question everybody asks. There's really kind of three main areas that I would say you could do it. So you can install it in what's called a virtual private server in the cloud. If you want to do it in Azure, I wouldn't mind. For those of you who don't know, that's Microsoft's cloud. There's two other clouds you might want to think about, but I don't think they're any good. But there's less expensive ways to install it. So there's a hosting service called Hostinger. If you pay for a year in advance, I think it's like $7 a month or $8 a month or something like that. So super cheap. The benefit of this is it's on 24/7. Okay, so I can hit it from, well, my phone's over there, but I can hit it from my phone, I can hit it from right here, I can hit it from anywhere, and it's always on, never goes to sleep, okay? The downside is you need to secure it. So this is a funny story, when I set up my first Hermes, technically it was OpenClaw back in the day, we'll talk about that in a minute. When I set it up in the VPS in the cloud, within 3 hours I had 500 attempted logins. Now I knew to harden it, and so I did that. But and all you do is when you set it up in your VPS, you just say, "Hey, can you help me harden this for security?" It'll tell you what to do and walk you through it, and you got to open a terminal and type some commands and stuff, but you can do it. The second option is an old laptop. It doesn't require. So by the way, my VPS is 2 CPUs and like 8 gigs. I mean, it's super small. It's not very powerful. You can install it on an old laptop. It doesn't need power, you can put it on an old MacBook, old Windows laptop, whatever. It just needs some disk space, needs to be able to run, internet connection, and you're good to go. Downside, so that's cheap, low cost to entry. The downside of that is reliability and uptime. What happens when you close your laptop lid? Oops, it's gone. What happens if it reboots? Oops, it's gone. If you're not home and something happens, you can't connect to it, right? You also have to figure out how to connect back in securely from outside your home network, right? Not hard, but you still got to do it. Another option is home server or Mac Mini. That's what a lot of people are doing these days. That is a really cool idea, and I'll tell you why in a couple slides. Problem is, not cheap. You seen the cost of a Mac Mini these days?
They were also in bad order.
Yeah. So, but even if you want to use like the new DGX from NVIDIA or the Ryzen from AMD, there's a bunch of different ones out there. It works. Once again, you still have the problem of connecting back in and the cost. So, depending on what you want to do, pick one. I wouldn't put it on your main laptop or computer because you got to give it access to your file system and stuff, and I wouldn't do it. And by the way, no, it's never tried to delete any of my stuff or wipe my files. I've never had anything like that. It's been very, very, it's behaved very, very well. So I'm not going to tell you how to set it up. There's a lot of YouTube videos. Figure out which way you want to go. Go do a quick search on YouTube and you'll get 30 videos. If you can't find one, send me an email and I'm happy to share it. Next question, or next topic is, how do you talk to it? So this is the question of Telegram, Discord, stuff like that. Hermes has a desktop application. So if I'm telling you to set up Hermes, you've never done it before, I would tell you one of two ways, either the desktop or Telegram. Those are the two easiest ways to set it up. Desktop can install on Windows or Mac, and you can set it, so let's say you have your Mac that you're gonna run Hermes on. When you set up the desktop, it'll install Hermes right there on the desktop and you're off and running and you have your interface and you're good. If you set it up in the VPS and you install the desktop, it can connect to the VPS and you can talk to it that way, okay? You can do desktop and Telegram. You can do Terminal and Slack. You can do Telegram and Discord. I use Discord. I'll show you how I have it set up in just a minute. There's also this new thing, you guys heard of Buzz from Block. It's this new agentic, agent-aware, better version of Slack is how they're presenting it. It's kind of cool. I haven't tried it yet, but that's one of my next projects. Sorry?
You said Buzz from Block?
Yeah, like Jack Dorsey's company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like BLOC or BLOCK?
BLOCK, Block. Yeah, it's called Buzz. Maybe I'll install it and come back and talk about that one. Okay, everybody's always asked, I know you were wondering, what models do I use, right? Being at Microsoft, I actually use most of them. I have a decent token budget that I get to use, so I actually use all of them. No, we're not gonna get into a debate about which model's better or anything like that. Here's what I would tell you. The easiest, simplest thing, start with ChatGPT, $20 a month subscription, okay? Easiest way to do it. $20 a month plus your $8 VPS, $30 a month, and you have what I've told you about tonight, okay? Not very expensive to do. Why ChatGPT instead of Claude? I don't know if anybody was gonna ask, but I'm sure you do. I'm not saying ChatGPT is better than Claude. Claude's subscriptions with their terms of service do not allow you to use their subscription with things like Hermes or OpenClaw. There's ways around it, I hear, but if they find out, they'll turn off your subscription. So that's why I say go with ChatGPT. It doesn't violate terms of service with ChatGPT. If you start running into token problems at $20 a month, bump it up to $100 a month. If you hit it there, go to $200 a month. If you got a business and you're gonna run, official business and everything else, you can do API keys with any of the providers. You can do Grok, you can do Claude, you can do all of them, okay? Now, the last two are interesting. Open Router, so if you really wanna be stingy, Open Router, you can set up Open Router, and it is a way to route your prompts to different models inside of Open Router. And you can give it a credit card and say, hey, this is my budget, stuff like that. But here's the thing, Open Router has a lot of free models that you can use. Now, most of them are open weight Chinese models. You gotta be not careful, you gotta be comfortable with that, okay? But you can do that. So if you really only wanted to spend $8 a month, go use Open Router. If you got an old laptop, you're using what I've shown you tonight for free, okay? Your mileage is going to vary because the open weight models aren't as good as ChatGPT's models and stuff like that, but your mileage may vary. Now the last one, local models. Remember I told you could set it up on a Mac Mini or a home server or something like that. When you do that, you can now host models on your local server and run them there. Once again, they're going to be open weight Chinese models typically, so you got to make sure you're comfortable with it. Won't be as good as GPT-5.6 or Fable or any of that kind of stuff, but depending on what you're doing, you may not need any of that stuff, okay? So that's kind of the different models that you can set up. Once again, I just encourage you to do ChatGPT. And here's the other thing. The other reason I would tell you to use ChatGPT, when Hermes breaks, and it will, and it won't respond, guess what I do? I pull up ChatGPT here, a terminal window here, and I ask ChatGPT to fix Hermes. And then it tells me what to do, and then I fix it and get it back and running. So that's the other reason I would suggest using ChatGPT, because it'll help you fix things. Okay, Hermes, you guys probably heard of OpenClaw. I think we presented here a couple times ago about OpenClaw. Let me get through this quickly. I started on OpenClaw. I did it for about 3 months, and then April the 26th hit when the upgrade happened and just blew up my OpenClaw. And I had to kill it. I had to start over. And by the way, all the upgrades up until that point, you're nodding your head, it was painful. Every time you upgraded, it was just really painful. Sorry?
You need to upgrade to OpenClaw?
No, upgrade OpenClaw versions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you install OpenClaw and then they would come out with new versions. You're like, I want that feature, install it, breaks. Open up ChatGPT, open up Terminal, fix it, next upgrade, ChatGPT, and just so on and so forth. So at that point, I reinstalled OpenClaw, tried to set it all back up, and then I put Hermes on side by side. And I used them both for about 2 months together. And I was like, man, Hermes faster, shows me more things, it's self-learning, upgrades are easy, just more reliable, and I just didn't have as many problems with it, okay? So I'm not saying OpenClaw is bad. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm assuming upgrades have gotten better over the, yeah, I mean, he's using OpenClaw in some really cool ways. The upgrades have gotten better. If you're an OpenClaw person, stay on OpenClaw. You don't have to go to Hermes. But if you're starting off, to me, Hermes is a little more user-friendly. So that's kind of how I would compare the two. They're both great. You're going to use them both. By the way, at Microsoft, we've built some solutions on top of OpenClaw. So, I mean, it's a legitimate solution to build on. So, let me wrap this up and then get into some demos. How do you do this? Start small. Don't try to build an agentic company as soon as you install Hermes, okay? It took me months to figure out how to do some of this stuff, okay? It takes time. Unless you're just full-time and that's all you do, then you can get to it a lot faster. Do one workflow. Set up your daily morning routine or email that comes in so you can sit down, drink your coffee, and read it. Don't give it limited permissions. Don't give it crazy permissions. Don't give it access to Airbnb, stuff like that. Make sure that the roles and the guardrails, what you allow it to do, is very, very clearly defined. Here's 3 simple ways if you want to try it. Daily signal report. Pick a topic, have it email you. Pick a couple topics, have a couple different ones. Have one hit at 7, one hit at noon, and one hit at night. Doesn't really matter. So try it out, understand how it works. Then build an agentic lead generation. Everybody needs leads. If you can figure out how to build this and you got a friend that has a business, guess what? Hey, I can find you leads. Maybe he pays you for them. Who knows, right? And then maybe the last one, you guys, a lot of guys here marketing, build a content creation system. Build an agent that writes a script, builds thumbnails, builds a video, so on and so forth. Try it out, see if you can do it, but start small. So here's the last thing I'll leave you with. Who here wants Jarvis? Right? Everybody wants Jarvis, right? I mean, that blew my mind when I saw Jarvis from Iron Man, right? You guys, okay? Blew my mind. I want that. There's people on YouTube that have built it with Hermes. Talks just like him. You just talk to him. Now the whole graphics in the middle of the room and stuff, we're not there yet, right? But if you want to build Jarvis, you go for it. You can do it. I've seen people do it. The future is here. It's now. Don't just use AI like ChatGPT and Claude. Build agentic systems. That's really what I hope you take away from tonight. Go from curiosity to action, fastest way possible. All right, let me get some demos. And then I'll take questions. Okay, so this is my Discord. It's gonna be kind of hard to see, but I've got a bunch of different channels. And what I do is, so here's Picard, and this is my main guy, this is the one I talk to. But then I have different projects. So when I'm working on Hermes platform, the infrastructure of Hermes, I work inside this channel. Hermes has Kanban, I'm not gonna get to what it is, but there's some cool stuff you can do with automating projects and stuff. I work inside here. Here's one. So let me describe the channels, then I'll come back. Whenever I want to do an upgrade, I talk to it inside here, so I keep everything in this channel. This is my status, so I have an agent that runs and looks at logs and see if there's any problems and posts any problems in this channel. This is my short-term rental board of directors. This is my financial board of directors. And then these are just some other projects that I'm working on. So Hermes upgrade. So I pre-typed this stuff so I don't have to type it. Basically, I'm saying, hey, look at the latest version of Hermes and tell me what new features we can use, any risk of upgrading, and a plan for how to upgrade. So I hit enter. Now, let's come down here to short-term board of rentals. I'm basically saying, using hospitable MCP, go out and find information about our short-term rentals. I hit enter. I come over here to my financial planner and I say, okay, I want you to go out and do some research on tax retirement strategies and what I need to worry about. Hit enter. So now we'll see how fast this stuff is. But so this one's going, so now it's detects, so you see how it's telling you what's happening here? It's kind of giving you a line by line of what it's doing. Here's the board of directors. So this one's underway. Be back in 1 to 2 minutes. Here it is. So here's the reservations that we have coming up. We have one on August the 10th, one on August the 6th, 15th, and the 19th. So it grabbed the information from the MCP server on our reservations. Now it's saying, hey, this is a targeted tier type of request. Specialists that it's going to engage are these right here. Expected model calls, evidence scope, artifacts, so on and so forth. But then it's asking me to approve. So then I just say approve. I could automate that. I had it ask me that for my reasons. Fire board of directors. So now it's saying, okay, well, here's the question. Here, I'm going to call the tax strategist and the retirement planner. I think you actually asked about tax strategist and retirement planner. We didn't talk about this. And then it asked me to approve, so I hit approve. So now it's going to go off, do its thing. We'll come back up here and look at upgrades. So it's still kind of looking at things, figuring it out. Let's see if board of directors is done. Now it's going to say it's going to take about 2 to 4 minutes. And then my fire board of directors, by the way, FIRE stands for Financial Independence and Retire Early, in case you didn't know. And it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. So while these things run, questions? Anything anybody wants to ask? Yeah.
When you set up like the different teams and all the different team members, can they have limited access to MCP servers?
Mm-hmm.
For example, the PM has Jira. No.
Yeah. So you can set up when you set up your tools, you can scope your tools to which agents have access to which tools. And then if the tools support read-only and write, you could even say you only have read-only, right? So that's how I have mine set up. My MCP server has read and write, and I only give it read, so it can only read, it can't write anything. Yeah.
On the security side, what exactly is again, you have just the Discord, privacy of the information you are giving Hermes through these channels? And how exactly does this information stay within the realm? Again, we gave the different examples of the control, but my main thing is origin story. I don't know Hermes' origin story. I don't know who made it.
Yep.
Why they would make it available to the public. Why
Yep.
open source.
Yep.
Who benefits from it.
Yep.
Who benefits from you utilizing Hermes here?
Yeah. So Hermes.
Power.
Yeah, so Hermes is open source. It's made by News Research. It was actually released before OpenClaw, but they didn't promote it. And then when OpenClaw hit, they downloaded OpenClaw. They looked at it and said, I think ours is better, and they started promoting it. They don't get paid for Hermes because it is open source, so you don't license it or pay them or anything like that. Now, they're talking to lots of other people and getting lots of other business in other ways. But this is open source. A lot of I put in development requests, so when Hermes can't do something, and Picard and I can make it do what we want, we'll post that up and say, hey guys, here's a new feature that we created. You should think about adding it to Hermes. So that's kind of, an open clause the same way, same kind of thing. From a security standpoint, it kind of depends, right? So if it's VPS, it's up in the cloud. If it's local, you can keep everything local. The challenge is when you use your models, you're sending the prompts to wherever the models are. So if you're using ChatGPT, then it's sending the prompt to ChatGPT. Now there's a setting in ChatGPT, you can say, don't train on my prompts and they're not supposed to store. You decide whether that's true or not, but that's what they're saying. That's where that's where your data is getting out, is when you're doing that, okay? But all my data is stored on my VPS. It doesn't leave the VPS except through Discord, which I'm using.
So when you connect this to, let's say, it's a ChatGPT, is one place you can have it pull from the large language model.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're all privatized is another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you want local models, yep.
Okay. Does it have API to connect to, let's say, another AI outside?
Sure, you can connect it to Claude, you can connect it to Grok, you can do Gemini, you can do Open Router, there's lots of them, yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna get deep into security, but there's a lot there. So let me show you real quick. So here is this, a lot of information, as you can see. Retirement tax planning checklist. Core information inventory, so here's all the things that you need. Approaching retirement, retirement transition, early retirement. Can you tell what I'm focused on here, guys? During later retirement, suggested annual calendar, so on and so forth. Short-term, oh, did I lose? I keep losing my internet connection. This isn't a Hermes thing. It's not a Hermes thing.
Well, is it here?
What? Yeah, I'm losing the Wi-Fi here, so there, now it's reconnected, so give it a sec. Try again. There we go. All right, targeted board review complete. So Little Oxford House, before this, check that the gravel path is clear, so it's looking at the reviews that people have left, and it's telling us what we need to pay attention to before people check in. Then Hermes upgrade, let's see if this guy's done. Yeah, it's done, so it gives me a whole report. Upgrade, but target the frozen release, not the main release. Most useful new capabilities, it shows them to me. Valuable but enabled separately, upgrade risks, so on and so forth, okay? So that's just a couple of demos. I mean, I did the emails and other things, but I think it should give you a good idea of what this is capable of, okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
So you showed like the card down like the sub-agents.
Yep.
Have you ever thought about extending the hierarchy, like further level?
Yeah, you can extend the hierarchy of agents if you want to. What I will tell you is, you have to be super tight about your instructions and what needs to happen, because what will happen is Picard will give it to Riker, Riker will then give it over to Geordi, Geordi gives it to Data, then Data has a problem with whatever he was running, and then it goes back and you start doing this. So I haven't gone down the path of putting a third level down. There's no reason you can't. You just kind of have to, you have to have a need. There's got to be value in doing it. Don't do it just to do it. So.
Yeah, I was asking because I didn't do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it can be done, yeah, but it gets complicated, or it can get complicated pretty quickly. And it burns tokens like crazy, yeah. Question? Yeah.
I have one Hermes profile for my marketing job. I just have that one profile.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my different jobs are just done by that.
Sure.
What is the benefit? Could you explain the benefit to having the different sub-agents? Is it better context management or more efficient token-wise?
Yeah, so the question is, she's got Hermes set up, she's got one profile, and she does all her work through that one profile. There is nothing wrong with that, okay? So the reason that I start to spawn off agents is I want specialization. So I want somebody that all they do is coding, and then I'm gonna give them the best coding model that they can use, that I can afford, right, or whatever. But so what I would tell you to do is, what are you using for your?
Is marketing.
No, sorry. What are you using for your LLM? Are you using?
I'm mostly using chat, the latest model.
ChatGPT 5.6, one of the 5.6. Ask it, should we create an agent for this? Right? So if this is your marketing person, do you need a specialization? If you do, create an agent. And then give them a profile and give them guardrails and all that kind of fun stuff. So, but you're using it, if you're finding value in it and it's working, don't overcomplicate it. Just because you see all this stuff up here, I run into problems all the time because of this. So it does get complicated, or it can. Yeah.
Just a little tidbit. We got about 5 more minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes.
So maybe, because people are going to talk to us.
Yeah. 2 more questions, yeah.
Does Hermes have any visualization like effects?
It does. It has a Kanban board, so you can see the tasks and how it flows through, and you can see what's completed and what's blocked, what's ready, and things like that. So I've had differing success with it. I'm still tinkering with exactly how to do that. There are a lot, by the way, guys, keep it out of the box. Don't download a whole bunch of public skills and stuff. You got to worry about whether they're written correctly or whether they're, Trojan horses or something. That's the easy thing. But there are you can download different graphical, interfaces for it to show different things. Yeah. One more. Anybody?
I have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If I'm a musician, how could what do you think personally can directly help me today?
What's your biggest problem as a musician?
Um,
Finding gigs.
Finding fans.
Finding fans.
That's what.
So build a reputation team. Give it access to talk to it. I need to build a fan base. So here's the thing, I'm a DJ. I DJ at dance clubs. I want to build that too. That's one of my next projects I'm going to do on this thing is, how do I build a following with that, right? So I'm going to talk to it, I'm going to ask it, we're going to build a plan. We're going to get on, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the whole thing, build it all out. I'll give it access to this, post things. That's what I would tell you to do, build a reputation team. Just install it and ask it, what can you do? And then have it interview you and ask you questions. Cool. Thanks everybody, appreciate it. I hope you learned a lot about Hermes.
Let's take a photo of the group, right? Here, just push, help. Brad opens that. And they, if you don't put them back right, and my purse is out there, I hate making it there.
You want to push it?
Yeah. Where's those tabs? but you don't. I don't think.
I'm sober right now.
What? Yeah, but it's okay to smoke sometimes. Yeah, people do all kinds of stuff. Well, I can't. I feel like you're my friend. So, but I do look more, let's go there. I look brighter than when you first met me.
I think you look bright there too, but yeah, definitely the hair. I think the hair is it's shiny, and I thought they matched you much.
Wow, you're so good.
Hi.
Hey, girl. Okay.
Let me turn this
so
off for you really quick.
This is one of my friends, and he always helps me. This is Sebastian. He comes to, he's a founder. Like everyone else. This is Alyssa. Yes. The one I was
I think I connected with
on LinkedIn, maybe?
Just recently.
Yeah. I told him, I said, oh, she's our new coordinator.
Yeah, very
So,
exciting.
hey, excited.
Yeah, let me shake your hand. So
I know it's
sorry.
hard. I know this job is like, good luck.
I know.
I'm being really nice, no, because sometimes tonight you get frazzled when it's not working
Oh,
out,
yeah.
or if I'm running late, that's why I was texting you, and I was
No, you're
like,
totally fine.
okay.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, and he's like, he's chill.
Oh, he's very chill. He's still here. I think he's coming down in 1 second.
Well, it was so nice to meet you.
Wait.
What?